What would you do if sitting at a lunch counter could get you arrested? Or riding a bus could put your life in danger? Let's dive into three key events of the civil rights movement that challenged segregation and changed history forever. Well, first up, we've got the Greensboro sit-ins. In February 1960, four black students from North Carolina sat down a Woolworth's white-only lunch counter. They refused service but stayed seated, determined to challenge segregation. Over the next few months, their bravery inspired thousands of students across the South to stage sit-ins in over 100 cities. Even when faced with abuse, food was thrown at them, and arrest, these young protesters stood firm. By July 1960, Woolworths finally gave in and desegregated its lunch counters. Next came the Freedom Riders in 1961. These were young black and white activists who tested Supreme Court rulings that banned segregations on interstate buses. Sounds simple, but travelling to the Deep South was far from safe. The riders were beaten, their buses set on fire, and they were often thrown in jail. In Alabama, a mob firebombed one of their buses, yet the Freedom Riders persisted, and the federal government was forced to act. By the end of 1961, segregation in bus stations was finally banned nationwide. And finally, the story of James Meredith. In 1962, he became the first black student to enroll at the University of Mississippi. But getting there wasn't easy. After being rejected multiple times, he took his case to the Supreme Court, which ruled in his favour. However, when he tried to enroll, riots erupted. Thousands of white protesters clashed with US Marshals. 2 people died and over 300 were injured. Despite all this, Meredith persisted and began his studies, making a huge step forward in desegregating education. So these events show how ordinary people could use confrontational non-violence to take on injustice and win. So remember to like, follow and share to revise more history.